Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon, not here with Geeky Sparkles again in this video. She's out this afternoon. She will be back later. Lots of news today. There's a lot of things happening today, so I want to talk about this. They fired Chris Licht, I don't know, Licht, whatever, it doesn't matter, he's gone. The boss of CNN has been fired. This is a couple days after he apologized to staff for failing and after he did that magazine interview, which didn't paint him in a very good light. And I don't know what's going to happen to CNN. We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about CNN reporting on its competitor, Twitter. Now, look, I am not a Tucker Carlson fan. I don't watch Tucker Carlson, but the guy pulled in a ridiculous number of views just doing a show out of his basement on Twitter. And therein lies the problem. This is that paradigm shift I've been talking about, that the reason the media is so salty about YouTubers and independent voices is that's the way everything is going. Everything is changing. We're not going to need massive media outlets like CNN anymore, especially if they lie to us. You know, but they're not going to go down without a fight. They're not going to go down without taking as many people with them as possible. And I don't know what they're going to do with CNN. All anybody wanted CNN to do was give us the news. But then they pivoted to becoming opinion. They pivoted to becoming talking heads. And you can't really come back from that. Like once you build your audience, a certain audience, which was the anti-Trump talking head audience, once you cater to that audience, you're not going to be able to walk it back to center very easily. I don't know. They might have to sell it. I don't know what Zaslav's going to do. I think that his plan was to bring the former boss in, and he effed up. Things did not go well. This guy he worked on The Daily Show. He was a comedy guy. Why did you think? I mean, I understand that CNN is a comedy now, but why would you think that he would be able to fix CNN? Of all the people you could choose, why would you think this guy would be able to fix CNN? So we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You get a woohoo. Woohoo for you. There we go. Firing Chris Licht. Is it Licht or Light? I don't know. Following Chris Licht. I like Licht better. Firing Chris Licht won't fix CNN. Even after his firing, CNN remains stuck in no man's land. I actually agree with that. I actually agree with it. Like, who is CNN for at this point? You've catered to a certain audience. You're not going to be able to go back to center. It doesn't matter if you put a Trump rally on or not. You're not going to be able to go back to center. And people were taking pot shots at CNN for that. They're like, it's because of Trump. It's because you put Trump on CNN. The ratings cratered. It's like, no. The ratings were cratering, which is why they brought Trump on. Because even if it's the wrong kind of audience for them, still eyeballs, you know. Technically, the news is that CNN CEO Chris Licht was pushed out this morning. The only newsy part of that statement is that it happened this morning. Licht, whose tenure at the cable news giant barely lasted a year, has been a dead man walking for the last week. The real question is whether or not the former boss of this guy, David Zaslav, has learned anything over the course of this debacle. It's not clear that he has. The very fast recap, this is coming from Vox, by the way, so it's going to be their opinion. Zaslav took over CNN and the rest of the company that used to be called Time Warner last spring. Then he installed Licht, a TV producer who had turned around Stephen Colbert's late-night CBS show to replace the former CNN boss Jeff Zucker, who had been pushed out by the previous owners. There was some controversy there. Licht told anyone and everyone that his job was to fix CNN by reversing its supposed slide into liberal anti-Trump activism. And you do that by bringing Trump on. Things went south immediately. Disgruntled CNN staff distrusted him from the jump. Licht distrusted his staff. Ratings plummeted from Trump and COVID era highs. And things culminated in a much derided town hall event with Trump last month. Then all of this was cataloged in great detail by The Atlantic, who published a devastating 15,000-word piece about his tenure with Licht hubristic cooperation 5 days ago. Following the piece, the only question about his position at the network was the timing of his departure. But in the year prior to the Atlantic piece, Zaslav had insisted publicly and privately that Licht was doing great, that his head-to-the-middle strategy was the right way to go. Days after the Trump town hall, Zaslav told investors that CNN was on the rise, due to the fact it was now committed to showing both sides and courting Republicans. Yeah, he was like, hey, Republicans are back on the network, guys. And look, people did watch Trump. They did. They're huge numbers for him, I think. Huge numbers for Trump, I believe. Chris is rebuilding the network. It's going to take some time. We're making real progress. They shit canned, Don Lemon and several other talking heads. A few weeks later, Zaslav was unwilling to talk to Alberta on the record about his tenure. Presumably, he had heard, as I had, that the piece was going off like a nuclear bomb at CNN, as an insider had told me before publication. And yesterday, a person close to Zaslav, a journalese convention that usually means Zaslav himself, or a Zaslav PR person speaking with Zaslav's permission, told the Wall Street Journal that Zaslav is also losing patience with the number of Licht's self-inflicted wounds and missteps, which puts Zaslav in an uncomfortable position that someone ought to ask him about next time he speaks on the record. Did Zaslav truly believe that CNN was crushing it as recently as last month, and that it took a story from another media outlet to convince him that he was deeply wrong? There's no fixing it. There's no fixing it. You can't fix it. It's a dinosaur. Zaslav said he'll look for replacement, starting with internal candidates. He fired pretty much everybody, didn't he? A group of CNN veterans and the recently installed chief operating officer, David Levy, a close Zaslav confidant, will run things in the meantime. Presumably, he can find someone less openly antagonistic to the people the new leader is going to manage than Licht was, but unless Zaslav completely rethinks his theory of the case for CNN, that person is going to inevitably struggle. That's because news can't save cable news. Wait, what? That's because Zaslav's premise, which, as I've noticed before, happens to be the same premise held by John Malone, is that CNN had failed because it wasn't centrist enough and that it needed to tack to the right to attract guest advertisers and viewers. Well, it's a good start because you basically alienated 50% of your potential audience. According to Vox, that isn't true. Under Zucker, CNN had thrived financially with programming that often responded to Trump tweets as if they were major news events. But prior to that era of programming, Zucker CNN had thrived by giving Trump, then a can't-look-away political novelty, a platform for nearly every utterance he had in the 2016 election cycle. Was that true? I kind of tuned out from CNN back then. And prior to that, CNN had thrived by eventizing minor news stories about things like the disappearing planes or white women. Wait, what? The point being, CNN worked not because it found ways to program a 24-hour news channel with news like it used to, because people had never wanted to watch 24-hour news. It worked because it found something else besides news to fill the time and keep people watching. That is actually not untrue. News networks have become opinion networks. They become talking head networks. They basically become podcasts. But you don't need a corporate-owned television network to podcast. You really just need a microphone or a webcam and a pair of pants, maybe, and a basement to work out of. And some people will turn to CNN or other cable TV news channels in times of crisis or something truly extraordinary, but even that's a habit specific to people who have grown up with TV. That's actually true. That's I will give them props for that. That's actually true. It is true, Peter Kafka, that yeah, people have broken the habit of watching 24/7 news on cable television. Instead, what they're doing is they're watching people like Tucker Carlson on Twitter, and they're watching so many other talking heads on YouTube and Rumble, because cable news isn't giving them what they want. Now, this is pretty interesting because CNN is basically reporting on their own demise. They're like, oh, Tucker Carlson did this sad little Twitter show. He did this sad little Twitter show after he got fired from Fox News. All the way at the bottom, they can see that the numbers were actually pretty decent. His first episode got, as of my recording this video, 83.3 million views, 83.3 million. Now, it's probably substantially more than he would have gotten off of Fox News, but then again, a lot of people are going to tune in because they want to watch the train wreck. They want to see what's going on. I mean, he's working out of his basement or something here. I don't know, but at least he put a suit on. But here's the thing. I mean, look at Joe Rogan. Look at, even in the YouTube space, we got so many people, Timcast and all these other talking heads, and they're basically doing what CNN did, and they're pulling bigger numbers than CNN, and they're doing it themselves or with very small teams. And So they're trying to say CNN, because CNN, this is a threat to them, right? They're saying supporters of Carlson, in addition to those who would like to believe Musk can use Twitter to destroy the mainstream press, asserted Carlson's debut was a success with more than 20 million views at the time of this publication. It's 83 now. But what counts as a video view on Twitter is unclear. Musk himself said that it simply counts if you saw the post on the Twitter app or via web browser, not how long you watched. In contrast, Nielsen, the gold standard of television ratings, provides data on the average number of concurrent viewers, not the cumulative number of views. The two sets of data are apples and oranges. Nevertheless, Musk celebrated Carlson's embrace of his platform on Tuesday, retweeting the video to his 140 million followers. It would be great to have shows from all parts of the political spectrum on this platform. There we go, guys. It's just like a little thing they're doing. No, the reason they're saying this, because it's a pretty substantial number of people that watch Carlson, just like a pretty substantial number of people are watching people on Rumble now, but you're not hearing about it. And people are watching people on YouTube, and you're not really hearing about it. It's a threat to CNN. Because CNN is not in a good place right now. They just fired their CEO. They're not bringing the views. Nielsen or otherwise, they're not bringing the views to warrant the advertising rates, which are probably declining just like they are all over the place, to warrant the advertising rates to keep your ass on the air. You know, and Zaslav might just sell the whole damn thing. So they're going to throw shade at anybody trying to cover news, to give opinions outside of their space. And that's going to include all of these digital media outlets. Again, all of them are failing. They're going to try to scream and kick and moan and take as many people with them as possible because they're dying. They are dying. They are the legacy media now. These digital media outlets that used to dunk on newspapers and dunk on radio and dunk on cable TV. They're the legacy media now. They're the dinosaurs. And the future is going to look a lot more like this, regardless of what you think of Carlson, regardless of what you think of his views. I personally don't watch him, but 83.3 million views, that's a shit ton of people watching this guy. You know, that's a lot of people. That's more people, I guarantee you, than are watching CNN at any given time in this current market. So I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Sorry, I yelled loudly.
That's okay. I got the limiter on.
Okay. So
you can tell my
kick setting.
Yeah, you can
Wait,
tell.
really? It automatically limits it when I yell?
It does. When the pitch gets too high, it does. Sometimes if you sound like all robotic, it's because it's bringing the decibels down.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support and get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.